Hello, Deacon Mary, again, joining you from San Romero Episcopal Church. We have been studying together Living Compass's workbook on practicing patience through the Advent season. And today, Monday, December the 21st, our topic is practicing patience with God. The devotional has been written by Scott Stoner, who developed Living Compass and has overseen this workbook. He opens with a quote from yesterday's discussion by the Bishop Stephen Charlton with "Patience is trust lived." In this last week of Advent, we turn our attention to practicing patience with God. Patience is one of the fruits of the Spirit named in Galatians chapter 5, which reminds us that patience is the natural outgrowth of our spiritual lives. Just as we can grow in our practice of being more patient with ourselves and with others, so too can we deepen our faith in God's timing in a way that manifests itself as enhanced patience and trust. The gospel for yesterday, the fourth Sunday of Advent, describes the patience and trust exhibited by both Mary and Elizabeth as they wait to see what God has in store for them and their soon-to-be-born babies. As Stephen Charlton wrote in yesterday's reflection, patience is trust lived, which is a perfect description of Mary and Elizabeth. The idea that patience is trust lived in our lives both awakens and challenges us. It's one thing for me to think I am a patient person and trust God, and it's quite another to manifest that in a way that I live my life. I wonder if people who know me well would describe me as a person who exhibits patience and trust in God. I wonder how much it shows in the way I treat others and the way I order my life. I invite you to join me in reflecting on how practicing patience with God manifests itself in your life during this final week of Advent. And in making it personal, what do you think Stephen Charlton's idea that patience is trust lived? Do you think others would describe you as a person who exhibits patience and trust with God? What spiritual practices help you to be more patient with God? I know for myself, many times I just have natural expectations where I think, well, of course that's going to happen for me. It happens for everybody, but it rarely does. Whatever it is you're thinking about happen for everyone. What about Abraham's wife, Sarah? She had a very challenging life in that she wasn't having that child until eventually in her old age, the Lord said, you are going to have a child, and this will be a special child. I think about the women in the Bible particularly who had to wait a long time to get what they thought was their normal expectation and to find themselves suddenly affirmed in a culture where whatever it is they were lacking was the norm. And they had to trust that the Lord would look out for them and take care of them in some way because the culture around them might not, because they didn't fit the normal pattern. So for me, a lot of times it's a matter of looking at things that are normal in my life and saying, well, I always expected that this would happen, and it didn't, or I don't think it's going to. But God has a plan for that in my life. It just may not be one that I anticipated. So I have to wait to see how it's all going to work out. Because I believe that God has a plan for that, and He has a plan for me. And He has a plan for the way that I fit into the world and what He would have me do. I think it's scary sometimes to be uncertain and to have an expectation denied or delayed. So it's one of those things that I have to work on all the time and not try to claim something that is not promised or wait for something that is promised because I thought maybe it was going to arrive earlier. So I encourage you to look at your own life and see how you might handle some of the expectations and trials that were in the Bible, and how some of our biblical heroes and heroines, like Sarah, dealt with it. And when you look at Ruth and all the disappointments that happened in that particular instance, and how long people had to wait in order for things to happen. What was it like for Job to go from being an honored person to a spurned person, and living outside of the realm of acceptance for so many years? Being patient with God. So I ask you to look at that today and ask yourself how you are patient or impatient in your life, and what are ways that you can deal with that, especially looking at the Bible for inspiration. Have a great day. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye.